You are listening to CloudFront's Community Radio. Episode 1. In Conversation with Reto Hassman.
Welcome to CF Community Radio. I'm Anil Shah, I'm the CEO at CloudFront. And on this episode, I have a very special guest, our client and good friend, Reto Hassman, Global Head of ICT at Bookie Laborotechnik, based out of Flaville, Switzerland. So Reto, first of all, welcome to India and welcome to the CloudFront office. To give you some context, guys, Reto has been in India for the last few days, visiting their operations, and today is the last day visiting CloudFront. So Reto, maybe tell us a little bit about yourself and how has your visit been so far?
Good. Thanks, Anil. Well, it was great to be here. Anyway, started with our ride over weekend, and especially the visit to our manufacturing part in Surat was quite important and useful to get a better understanding about our situation here. Especially, in my role as global head of ICT, it's really important that we cover all areas in a better way.
Yes.
And what I really like is all the transparency which we had during our trip. Was glad that you were part of our first overview on the operations part as well in Surat.
Yeah, it was fun to visit with you.
Yeah. And I think, in the end, it's all about our relationship and how we can grow together.
Yes.
In this area. I think it helps if a partner understands what our business is, how it's working there.
Yes.
And if we can leverage our resources and our skills, that's always the best case, right?
Yep. Yeah. And so Reto, today is your last day. Tomorrow you're back to Switzerland. I'm going to be meeting you next week again in Flaville to continue, our conversations. So maybe tell us a little bit about, Bookie. I know it is pronounced differently. In fact, a little bit of a understanding there. When we went to Surat, it was pronounced differently. I think you mentioned that your counterparts in the US pronounce it differently.
Sure. I'm always struggling with the name because I have to switch the whole time, so depending on the area.
Yeah.
And especially in Swiss German, you have two different ways to pronounce it, which could also irritate people a little bit, right?
Okay.
Depending on which area they come. Well, I think in our industry where we are building all those devices for laboratories and for other areas, it's quite important that we get into the next step from the technology standpoint, how we can connect our devices, how we can get all the data, all the information, how can we summarize all the information in the best case for our customers. So that's what we are facing currently from an external standpoint. But of course, in addition, it's quite important that we as IT, as global IT, support a strong platform.
Correct.
I think that's quite important in our case. So we moved everything to Azure. We built with you guys all those interfaces with Azure Integration Services, which helps a lot. And especially when you're talking about the architecture, I think we are fully flexible now with the solution.
Yes.
Of course, from the partner side as well, with you guys. But also with a strong vendor like Microsoft. I think that's the beauty of our solution, and we can scale. So especially when we're talking about our devices, if we would like to scale with our devices, with the whole connectivity, what we are doing together with our great colleagues internally from the R&D side, that's quite nice, and so we can upskill our knowledge together.
Yes,
which is really helpful. I think, especially in our environment.
Yep. And Reto, our journey together is more than 2 years. We started this project together to work together to build out sort of the evolution of the technology stack for Bookie. And today, as Bookie continues to expand, and I think you mentioned a wonderful thing that you see Bookie as a global organization. You have big operations, of course, in Switzerland, but then in US, you have a big manufacturing facility in India, which you're looking to expand further. This is an investment from the last 10 years to build out this, and then Asia is also growing as well. So you have all of this growth, and what we see now with our work together, and maybe that's my next question. And with moving to the Azure stack to allow for flexibility, to allow for a solid platform for the future, where do you see the evolution of technology for the next couple of years for Bookie, and hence driven by you and your team, along with partners and with Microsoft, of course? Where do you see that going in the next couple of years to enable Bookie's growth?
Well, I think, as I mentioned before, I think it's really how we can consolidate all the data. I think, of course, we can sell our devices. That's important. But in addition, it's also important that we get new business models, like subscription models, that we can use the data with our customers, really accurate. AI is a topic as well, right? That we improve on this side as well. But I think, as you mentioned it before, so we are highly Microsoft oriented in those areas. We see a lot of progress from Microsoft. In addition, we can work close together with those guys. So I think we have this direct touch point as well. I think those are the trends, and I think those are the technologies which are coming more and more into our industry as well. So when we set up the agenda for Bookie operations, of course there was this topic, data is our new gold, which is already an old sentence, right? But
correct.
It's still the case, and we should proceed.
True.
We should proceed in this area.
Fantastic. You ended with data is a new gold, and then all of this hard work is allowing you to put data in the right hands, and then leverage that data for new business models. You said maybe data as a service, or because you have industry experience and Bookie's strength in so many years, and all of this gives rise to new opportunities driven by your investments in technology.
Sure.
Fantastic. We started our journey 2 years ago with Bookie, and today we continue to do more and more work together to fulfill your vision for where your organization should head. How has your journey been working with a partner like CloudTrans, who is not local in Switzerland, and we are based out of India? Of course, now we've met. I think we met online last year a couple of times. Then we traveled, and here you are today in Mumbai. Which is fantastic testament to our relationship together. But if you can tell us, how's your journey been?
Well, Bookie started to work with you guys already 2 years ago. So this means I started just 1 year ago.
Correct.
So you were already in place, right? So and then there are usually some uncertainties, right? How it's going on. So a new head is coming, is checking situation, probably will change something. But I'm really happy that we have a strong internal team as well in this area, who is taking the lead, who is really progressive in all those areas. And I think the beauty of our partnership is, I think one aspect is the transparency, so that we are fully transparent about the situation. So if we think there is an issue, we can address this right directly to you guys, which all team members really like and appreciate. And the other thing would be that we scale with you guys in a good way. So you have all those developers in the background, which helps a lot. So when we had our last few projects, we were under some pressure, depending on the project phase. And we could scale really in a nice way with you guys. I think this is quite nice. I think we discussed this already. We are in the driver's seat. I think that's important. So we should set the strategy in this area
Yes.
together with your advisory. So you have great guys who gave us this advisory. And in addition, we can scale with the developers in the background. I think that's the beauty of our setup.
Agreed.
And I'm really looking forward to our next great project with this setup.
That's fantastic. And so that what you just said, it's the transparency, it's the skill sets, and it's the fact that we all together understand that Buki and its internal team are in the driver's seat, and we are enabling your vision together. And that way of working, the way we work together, I think has set a good way for us forward. And that allows us to enable and accomplish many things together, which if we were just doing it, or if you were just doing it, we might not. But together, we are able to accomplish.
Yeah, sure.
And with that, I would like to thank you again. I know you've enjoyed some wonderful Indian food.
Yes.
But I think
the spicy one.
It's spicy, spicy one, true. More spicier than I can have, by the way. And I know you're now looking back to go back home and be with your family. And so as you end your trip today, I wish you the very best on your travels back home, and I will see you next week in Florida. Thank you, Rita.
Thank you, Anand.
Thank you for tuning in. To learn more about how CloudFronts is empowering teams and organizations by solving complex business challenges with Microsoft Cloud, please visit www.cloudfronts.com.